Naruto is about colonialism. It's about a baby who had a weapon of mass destruction sealed inside his body minutes after birth, turning his own umbilical cord into a fuse, so that the hidden village could keep their military asset. And then, as thanks for this service, as payment for being the living cage for a demon that could level mountains, the village decided to psychologically torture him for 12 straight years. They isolated him. They taught their children to hate him. Made him beg for expired ramen and live in a shitty apartment while the very man who put the fox inside him, the third Hokage, lived in a mansion and watched from a distance like it was some kind of social experiment in cruelty. This is extraction. Village takes everything from Naruto, his body, his childhood, his humanity, and gives him nothing in return but survival. That's not generosity, that's resource management. And the story that follows, it's not a hero's journey, it's indoctrination into a military dictatorship. Watch it again. Every beloved moment is just the village's propaganda machine finally working. The will of fire isn't a philosophy, it's a loyalty test. Uruka doesn't save Naruto from loneliness. He makes the loneliness bearable enough that Naruto doesn't question why he's lonely in the first place. The first person who showed him kindness was a state employee, and we're supposed to find that heartwarming instead of horrifying. Naruto doesn't save the village from pain, he saves the institution that abused him. He doesn't become Hokage to change the system, he becomes Hokage to finally be accepted by the system. That's the tragedy they dress up as triumph. He spent his whole childhood screaming about being acknowledged, and when he finally got the hat, what did he do? Married into the village's most powerful clan, produced genetically perfect soldier children, and kept the whole goddamn machine running exactly as it was. Look at the map. The great nations control all viable territory. The smaller villages, they get scraps. Rain Village, where pain was born, exists in perpetual war because the 5 major powers use it as their battlefield. They export their violence to the periphery and call it missions. Pain's entire philosophy was decolonization through terror, and the narrative treats him as a delusional villain while the actual war criminals, the Hokages, the Reikages, the Tsuchikages, die as respected elders. The same machine that turned children into weapons. The same system that created Orochimaru, Itachi, and every broken tool that bled out in the forest for the will of fire. Naruto looked at the cycle of child soldiers, at the endless wars between hidden villages, at the fact that his best friend was forced to carry the weight of his family's destruction, and his solution was to become the strongest cop. To enforce the status quo with better PR, the tailed beasts tell you everything. These are sentient beings with their own cultures, their own names, their own histories. The humans call them demons, seal them into children, and extract their power like oil from the ground. Naruto befriends Kurama, sure, but does he free him? No, he makes the cage comfortable. He becomes such a good jailer that the prisoner stops wanting to escape. That's not liberation, that's domestication. Story frames Naruto's friendship with the Nine Tails as growth, but it's really just the colonized learning to love the colonizer's use for him. And don't even get me started on the women. Shimoto created some of the most potentially devastating female characters in shonen history, and then locked them in narrative cages tighter than Orochimaru's lab. Akura Haruno, a genius with perfect chakra control who could probably rewrite the human genome if given 3 minutes and a medical textbook, ends the series as a housewife who got the guy through sheer persistence while he was unconscious. She punches a god in the face during the war, saves countless lives, and her reward is standing in the background while her husband ignores their child for work. Nada, born with eyes that see chakra pathways, the Byakugan heiress of the most powerful clan in the village, spends the entire series defined by her crush on the main character. Her big moment? Getting stabbed so Naruto can have a rage power-up. That's it. That's her arc. From shy stalker to sacrifice for male protagonist development. Tsune literally created the modern medical nin system, can punch mountains into dust, survive being cut in half, and spends her tenure as Hokage getting disrespected by the village elders, having her authority undermined, and being rendered comatose so the men can make the real decisions. Story pretends to be about breaking cycles, about the new generation surpassing the old, about choosing your own destiny. But it's really about Stockholm Syndrome dressed in orange. It's about a boy so desperate for love that he learned to love his abusers. Naruto didn't free the Jinchuriki, he made them respectable. He didn't end the shinobi system, he became its smiling face. He looked at the village that treated him like a demon and said, "Thank you for the opportunity to die for you," and we're supposed to call that growth. That's not a success story, that's a tragedy with a good soundtrack.